All right, guys, here's today's gear. The B13 Declaration Grooming knot that I've been using recently, BotiBrush handle, a Fat Boy G1, I think 1961 is what that means. And we'll be using setting 3. We're going to be putting the Astra in it, the Astra Platinum. And this is the, as you can see by the little bit of text there, this is the etched version, the laser etched version of the blade. Not the painted one, the inked one that I used yesterday. So we'll be comparing the shave with the same gear from yesterday, just changing the blade. Unforgiven from Mickey Lee Soaps. I've just been enjoying that one for quite a bit. And I'm going to get the brush back in the water. I like to soak it for about at least 15 minutes, more like 20 if I can. And I think by the time I get around to it, it'll have that much in it. To help those, just everything to be really soft. All right, I will take the blade, and so this will be the 7th use on it, and the inked one was the 7th use as well. So this is the parallel use to the previous shave, and let's see, is that the etched side? Doesn't look like it. Looks like maybe. There we go. Yeah. You know, they changed the way, apparently, I'm assuming this is not a counterfeit, and that's just the way the Astra manufacturing process has been changed for the laser etching, and so wonder if they changed the edge on the blade. You know, did they change the number of grinds they took to make the sharp edge? Sometimes there's multiple grinds going on, sometimes there's just one. So just been really enjoying this soap as I switch gears pretty quickly there. The birch tar and the smoky pieces, woody notes in here, a little bit of amber, and some supporting cast members all are helping me really to enjoy this guy. I used about 20 milliliters of water last time, and I was kind of on the thinner side of things. It was still in a pretty happy place. I just went back and got some more soap, you know, and then I dried my face between passes. So that's what helped me to make the best out of a pretty wet lather. And it worked really well. I was very happy with the slickness. I was happy with the face feel and the brush feel and all that good stuff. And so today maybe I'll just back off a little bit. And I think I used a 45-second load last time. I bet I can reduce that because we keep adding a little bit of water to this soap each time. Let's try a 40-second load now. A lot of the water out. And oh yeah, we're coming up to a nice round number right there, the 0. Just a 40-second load. Now at some point, if I keep using this soap consecutively, then I won't need to keep reducing it. It'll level off to, you know, maybe I get down to 10 seconds. I definitely have, like with Chiseled Face, Midnight Stag, I used that in August, and I was able to go down to like 7 seconds or something crazy like that. And see, we are getting that bubbling, and it's definitely happening at an earlier point now than it was in the previous loading, because the soap surface is a little bit more pliable now because of that residual hydration. Oh, I ended up going more. I went 43 seconds. I was thinking 45 in my brain, even though I told you guys 40. And so what I'm going to do is take this extra stuff. I'm going to put it in the bowl this time. It's probably actually not necessary to do that because I think that I'm going to have plenty of soap left. So I don't need to conserve any. And little airy stuff, you know, doesn't have a whole lot of soap mixed in there yet. You know, it's not thick with it yet or anything like that. So I just wanted to mix that around just a little bit. I'm going to get my face wet now so the hairs can be softening and be ready for the lather when it's done. And then why don't we just go ahead and put about 15 milliliters in there, or in this case 18. and then we'll kind of mix, and maybe we'll hit the right point kind of from the beginning. Reevaluate, see if I need to add any more soap or whatever after we get it nice and consistently mixed. I don't think Mickey Lee is a soap that is picky about when water is added. Some of them are, excuse me. And already we've got something that looks pretty nice, huh? Didn't take very long. But just to make sure that the lather is thoroughly homogenized, I'll mix it for a little bit longer because we may discover that there was more soap in there than I thought, and so we may need to add a little bit of water. Lots of nice lather there. And you can see, look how it has formed on the wall, and it's kind of drooping down a little bit, but there's this little cave you can see under there, kind of going all the way around where the brush was splaying, and it's not heavy enough and wet enough to where it's going down to take over that space. And that's an attribute to notice as you develop your lathers. You may actually never want to see that attribute, you know. Most people probably do. Want to see it on their way to something nicer, but that may mean you may still like your lathers at that point, you know. But you may also want to take yours a little wetter than that to where they would fully collapse instead of hang in midair. That's just something to a landmark for you to look for, to see, to kind of track your lathers, and then figure out on your own where you like to have your hydration level. So now I just add a little bit more water, and we will just mix it in. Kind of pull it up a little bit and look how it behaves as we stretch it. Look at the texture of it, the way the layers work, the way the curls and edges of the lather look. Are they curved? Are they sharp? You know, those are all things to look for. Let's go with this. Why not? I've been really enjoying this lather for the last few days. A little tilted. There we go. All right, so get my face wet one more time and get that razor ready. I was reading recently about the declaration batches on Reddit. There's a guy, L Charmin Man or something like that. That's pretty close to his name. And he did this cool thing where he described declaration batches 8 through the current, which is 14. He didn't have a lot to say about 14 because it's so new as of now that there's not much said about it. But he had some neat things to say about the rest of them, including 13, which is this one. I was glad to read his 12 right up because that's the one that, you know, I knew was problematic And sure enough, he mentioned the specifics, like that Scott had issued a recall of 12 because of the damaged tips. And I believe it was in the Lather games, that maybe Scott jumped in and was actually shaving with the broken tips. Oh man. The lather was an actual pile of broken tips. It was kind of his point of the whole thing. This is nice. Right now, it kind of feels like I could add a little bit more water if I wanted to, but I bet that means the second and third are going to be just perfect. As I'll kind of refresh my face with more water, so I think we're good. A little bit of a hurry today. I can't quite take all the time I want, so I'm not going to mix it around too much. It is funny. As you're new, you decide how long you're kind of going to work it on your face. Sometimes you just do it until you get to a certain feel that you're looking for. Sometimes you do it until you feel that the layer is looking right, where it's evenly spread, that sort of thing. We're going to stick with setting 3, right? Yep, didn't move it. And this is the Astra Etched. We're going to compare its feel today with the shave from yesterday. Oh man, this is a 24-hour growth here, and it is just moving through this hair so easily. Just a breeze. So this razor, it seems that the laser etched version is just as good or maybe even better than the old inked version, which was really an enjoyable blade for me, and its strength was in its usefulness in a large amount of razors. It was so flexible. That was a breeze right there, a pleasure to shave with that whole trifecta of brush, lather, razor, blade. Well, I guess that would be a quad. I mean, I guess I was not really thinking about the brush being in play because during the actual shave, the brush has already done its work, right? But in terms of lather, razor, and blade, that was the kind of shave where you stop experimenting and you sit there and you camp right there for a little while and just enjoy. I mean, just a tiny bit of blade feel just to let you know you're shaving. I mean, just the hint of it, but really pretty much smooth. And right now it's going to be even better. Fat Boy has a pretty decent grip on the blade, so you're not hearing a ton of blade chatter. Real fast movement with the razor if I want it. It's very slick. The lather is doing a great job. It's a little, you can see it's a little wetter than that first one, but like I said, because of the rinse water being on your face. Very nice. Man, good stuff. All right, third pass. That second one was terrific. And starting out with a slightly thicker lather than I did this time has made this brush feel even better. And that helps it out. This is a dense brush, and so when your lather's really, really wet, it can kind of show off some of the backbone in a stiff kind of way. Some people don't mind that at all, but I would rather have it be a nice, easy splay, and that is what I'm enjoying today. So very cool. And now just a little pass that is almost just practice for your blade angle, because you've already, at least this point, I've picked up so many of the hairs. What I'm looking for is you can kind of train yourself a little bit to work on your blade angle so that you still hear just a little bit of that blade cutting. Because when most of the hair is gone, then at a setting like this, you need to make sure you're using the right angle. Otherwise, you're not going to be profiting yourself anything. Very comfortable. Yeah, so this is really funny. I have been using Astra Platinums for a long time. And in my mind, they work so well, like I said, among many razors. They don't feel super edgy most of the time, but this one, this Etched version, seemed to have a little bit more edge on it than the inked ones I've been using for so long. And so I thought, has it changed? What's up? What's different? And I think it just took a minute to smooth out, because I don't feel that at all. I don't have any kind of irritation at all after the shave. Before last time I used this blade, I was complaining in a minor way about just a little hint of irritation after the end of the shave, as if there was something kind of on the blade or some little burr or something that was just not making me feel super comfy about it, but just a hint, and it would be gone in a few minutes. So it wasn't really too much to complain about. But it made me wonder if maybe there was a difference, because I didn't remember that happening with the inked versions. And today's shave was excellent. I don't have any hint of irritation after the shave at all. Feeling good. Okay, I did let me do another little splash of water. Got a meeting coming up, but my time looks good. So we're going to keep on. I'm enjoying this ADP inspired Aqua de Parma Colonia inspired aftershave from Fine. It is a little overpriced in the new version. The older version was more like $15, and then they bumped the price up for $5, and for apparently not really any other increase in value. And they were kind of overpriced from the begin with, because there's not a lot of skin food in here. It's mainly just the scent and the alcohol kind of stuff. And so, to my mind, it really didn't need the bump up in price. But if you can get it used from somebody who bought it and didn't like it, then there you go. You've saved your money, right? Oh man, look at all this lather that's left over. 43 seconds of loading, and I have a lot more lather left over this time than I did last time. So I definitely could have gotten away with the 40 seconds of loading, maybe even like 38 or something like that. I've got 3 or 4 passes left here. Look, I didn't have nearly this much left over last time. Just tons of lather. All right. There we go. Just dropped on a towel a little bit. I was a little more gentle this time. I was reading El Charmin Man, that was talking about the declaration batches. Along the lines of kind of adjacent to what he was saying, he was talking about batch 13, batch 12, and he's got a brush of number 12 that he's been using. And sure enough, man, so many of those tips have broken off. And he was combing it and stuff, and discovered something very important for people who use knots that have been treated, bleach treated, that sort of thing, to make those tips softer. The finest badger, the 2-band knots like this and this has been treated a little bit, but not enough to damage it, is what Scott says. But 12 was different. And he was combing out the bristles, combing out the tips, probably, something like this. And when he did it, when the brush was pretty wet, the tips broke off by a large, vast increase over when he did it when it was more dry. I would have guessed the opposite. I would have guessed dry means more brittle, easier to break, right? But no, apparently that particular batch, when they get wet, they get all jelly and stuff, and they are weaker. And so when he would comb them out, man, they would just break off. I think he maybe even said 200 because he counted them. And then he only lost 20 when he was combing it out when it was a lot more dry. And so I think that might change my attitude on stropping on the towel after the shave. Just with a treated brush, don't be vigorous with it. Now, of course, that's batch 12. That was a highly treated batch apparently, or maybe it was just a batch of really thin hairs that responded to a proper treatment just in a different way. I don't know, but it does seem to indicate that just be careful with those tips when they're wet, right? In your treated brushes, especially if they have a good bit of gel to them, and this one doesn't, and so maybe I don't have anything to worry about, but. It's kind of a little public service announcement. If you have my tongue is getting tied up. If you have a that's what I was trying to say, gelled brush, then be careful with those tips when they're wet, because you don't want that little gel bit that you've worked so hard to enjoy. You don't want that to break off, right? All right. Now I did end up adding a little bit more water to it. We brought it up to 20, and as you can see, with all the lather I had left over, that was justified because that 43 seconds pulled up more soap from the puck than the 45-second load did yesterday. That's because of that residual water I was telling you about, because I used the same brush, all that stuff. All right. Pretty cool. Yep. My time is just about over, but I'm stopping in time to go to my meeting. I will... take the this with the laser etching, it looks like a Kai blade, because that's the only other blade out there that doesn't have any markings on it, no printing or etching or anything, and so this looks almost like a Kai blade. I think there may be one other one that doesn't have any markings, but maybe like the Med Prep or one of those Persona blades. I can't remember, but anyway, dry that guy off. So this is early in my testing. This is just comparing these two blades with one razor. I'm going to do more, but for now it seems like the Astra Superior Platinum with the laser etched version, I like it just as much as the old one. Very nice. We'll see if that holds up with other razors. All right, well, I think that'll be it for today's shave. Thank you for joining me and continuing to enjoy the ADP. Although I think the ADP, in the form of fine Italian citrus, I am enjoying it. It is starting to maybe getting a little bit more familiar, and so it might be one that I do have to switch around every once in a while, but I think I've been using it now for 4 or 5 days, and I have been enjoying it a good bit. Pretty universally accepted in terms of it's not really offending, too many sides of the coin, ladies, men, manly men, not manly men, unisex. It all seems to sit right there in the middle, and might be a good recommended scent for many situations. And it's definitely riding nicely on top of the Unforgiven, the birch tar and the woody and the spicy type notes that are in that. So pretty cool. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys take care. Good night.